A deep dive on the TSA staffing crisis. Victor Hale reports. From Neural Newscast, I'm Victor Hale.
And I'm Adriana Costa.
The Department of Homeland Security has now reached 37 days of a partial shutdown, making this the third longest funding lapse in the history of the United States. While the standoff in Washington continues, the consequences are manifesting at security checkpoints across the country. Since the shutdown began on February 14th, at least 376 TSA officers have resigned their positions, unable or unwilling to continue working without a paycheck.
The human element of this crisis, Victor, is becoming impossible to ignore. For the 50,000 TSA officers considered essential, this means more than 5 weeks of work without pay. We are hearing reports from union leaders about eviction notices, vehicle repossessions, and agents relying on food banks. In Boise, Idaho, local union leaders describe a weight that gets heavier every day as families struggle to cover basic necessities after their spouses also face job losses in a tightening economy.
That financial pressure is translating directly into operational failures. TSA officers missed their first full paycheck last weekend, and the absentee rates have spiked. On Thursday, 10% of the national workforce was absent, but that number is far higher in critical travel hubs. At Houston's George Bush Intercontinental, 33% of officers were absent. In Atlanta, that figure reached 38%.
While the terminals are in chaos, the political situation remains stagnant. Democrats and the White House are deadlocked over funding for the Department of Homeland Security, specifically regarding new restrictions on federal immigration operations. This follows the fatal shootings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good in Minneapolis earlier this year. Until that policy dispute is resolved, the funding for TSA, FEMA, and the Coast Guard remains frozen.
The House Committee on Homeland Security is scheduled to hold a hearing this Wednesday to review the impact of the shutdown on DHS agencies. They will be looking at the 2024 Government Accountability Office report, which already flagged TSA for inconsistent management and poor work-life balance. This shutdown has essentially acted as a catalyst for a workforce that was already under significant stress.
It is also worth noting the broader economic impact, Victor. When major hubs like Atlanta or Houston face 3-hour security delays, it ripples through the entire global aviation network. We are seeing delays in cargo and international connections that could start affecting commerce if this isn't resolved by the time Congress returns.
The data is clear. 376 resignations is just the beginning if the checks don't start flowing. For now, the advice for travelers remains to arrive at least 4 hours early for domestic flights, though even that may not be enough in cities like New Orleans or Houston.
We will continue to monitor the hearing on Wednesday for any signs of a legislative breakthrough. For the officers at the checkpoints, the focus remains on the food drives and local support, keeping their households running during this period.
I'm Victor Hale.
And I'm Adriana Costa. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.